Good evening. Welcome to Let's Talk with Tammy, brought to you by BKNI Resources. BKNI Resources is a consulting company that works with individuals, businesses, schools, and organizations, and they have a 10-year-long track record in conducting seminars, workshops, and individual services on personal branding and appearances. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, the show features interesting personalities from all walks of life sharing profound insights into relevant topics. And I'm Tammy, your host. And my basis for the show has always been about sharing my personal journey with you as I'm learning things about anything that piques my interest. So for today, we're going to talk about career pivots, and I think a lot of you have been reading a lot about the Great Resignation thanks to the pandemic. And I think one of the main things that have happened because of the pandemic is that a lot of educated professionals have started reflecting on what they actually want out of their jobs, and that has led to a lot of migration to a different career paths. So to discuss this further, I have with me Suresh Dhawan, career coach. Thank you so much, Suresh, for being here tonight.
Yes, I am very happy and excited for
Okay,
to see all of you all tonight, and of course, to meet you, my dear Tammy.
thank you very much. So before we start, I would like to also give a proper introduction for Suresh. So Suresh is the founder of Leeds Learning and Development Services in John Berhad. He established Leeds in 2006 and went international in 2009, being invited to speak, train, and consult for more than 250 companies in 10 countries. And he has had the opportunity to speak in numerous global conferences, train more than 160,000 people from various multinational and global agencies, including the UN and the World Bank. And his travels and engagement have allowed him to meet and train a global audiences of 61 different nationalities in the last 20 years. So I think before we move on to more deeper conversations of the career pivot part, right? I think you might want to start to basically enlighten our audience on what actually job and career means, so that it'll be easy for me to go further into our conversation.
Okay, very good. So again, thank you for having me today, Tammy. So good question. Job and career. So I always ask this also in my classes. What's the difference between job and career? Some people say, Suresh, job short term, career long term. Okay, that's what some people say. So, but there is actually a main difference. A career. Let me just define, right? The word career basically means a person's course, which is COURSE course, or progress through life.
Right.
So it means throughout your life, as long as you're progressing, and then there is a journey in that path. So that's called a career. A job is basically your role, your position, a task given to you that you do. So if I give you a position, senior manager of this, sales assistant, customer service professional, R&D specialist, whatever. So that's a job. But your
Right.
career is bigger, wider than that. So that's the big picture, or that's the umbrella. And your job, you will have many jobs along that career path. But you can also have different career paths as well. Right? We will probably talk about that a bit more. But that's the main difference. Yeah? So that's the main difference
Right.
between job and career.
Mm-hmm. So
Now,
I think, sorry,
yeah, so
please
go
carry
ahead, go
on.
ahead.
No, I just wanted to continue with that question, right? I think a lot of people, when we say career change, a lot of people confuse that with job changes as well sometimes. And I think that's a very good explanation that you give. So people are aware of when they say they want to change careers, what they actually mean by that.
Right. So when you look at it, when you look at your career right now, so for example, like in my case, my career is in the training path. Right. I started as a salesperson, so very different industry, very different path. So I also do sales right now. Because I sell myself, I sell my organization, I sell the training programs.
Yes.
But so if you do a lateral move means I just move tracks. That's what you would call a career move. But if I'm on the same track, I'm in engineering, so I change from maybe different type of machines, or I change my role, but still within the scope of engineering, I'm not really changing careers. I'm changing my role, my job, but I'm in the same path.
Right.
There are some people like I found out today from you. You're a chemist, which is very nice. So you might be interested in a particular type of subject, so you do a lot of research in that area, but then you move to a different field, not different field, but you might research something else, but within the realm of chemistry, right?
Right.
Correct. Some people call themselves researchers. So I research this today, that today, but I'm a researcher. So that's the same career path. but I'm doing different tasks. So that's the
Right.
difference, right?
Okay.
Hmm.
So
And
when people, yeah.
sorry,
So when
so
people say that, if they talk about I'm so dissatisfied with my job,
hmm,
and so we want to make sure that when you are not satisfied with your job, it's not really about, and then they straight away decide they want to change career paths just because they're not satisfied with their jobs, right? And
hmm,
it could be a very localized problem because probably the place that you're working at, your management, it's not, it's probably toxic or not healthy,
right,
and it could also be a case of the grass is greener on the other side.
okay.
So how do we be sure, like, okay, I should just change job and not change career paths?
All right. So there are four main reasons people
Mm,
leave an organization. I'm sure you've
right.
probably heard of this, or the viewers today, or those who will be listening will be familiar with this phrase, which is people join the organization but leave the people, or
Mm,
you leave the management, right?
mhm.
So there are four main reasons people leave an organization, and
Right.
based on studies by an organization called Gallup. And some people might know this. So
Mhm.
Gallup does studies every year on different subjects, but on engagement and all is every 2 years they have a global study.
Right.
And what was very interesting for me to find out was, I mean, it's documented now very nicely. 47% of all resignations are attributed to one particular reason, and that is your immediate supervisor.
Mm,
So which means if people leave, it's because of the immediate boss. That is, out of every two people you meet, one would say that.
yeah.
But then there are another three main reasons, which is nothing to do with the boss. So that's very interesting, right? Probably we'll go deeper there also as well today. So then the number two reason is job fit.
Mm,
Maybe this is not the right fit for me. So I'm okay with the boss. All right. Let's assume the boss and I are fine, management is fine, culture is okay. But I don't think this fits me really. So later,
right.
perhaps maybe you probably want to ask me, so how do I know whether it fits me or not, right? So there are a few things to ask yourself. But first thing is this really for me? Let me give you
Mm,
an example. My second job, my first job was in sales. I had no sales experience, but as I did it, interestingly enough, I got promoted before I was confirmed. That was
right.
very interesting. So I didn't
Okay.
even know those were my strengths,
Mm,
So I didn't know. So it was a good fit for me. I enjoyed myself. But my second, when I moved companies, and you could probably say it was in the same line, which was health. So I was selling health stuff, but now I'm in that same environment, but I was doing a very different type of job.
mhm.
And I was doing a lot of back room operations. I was doing a lot of data entry. Microsoft Excel is my enemy number one. Oh my god, Microsoft Excel is Excel's elder brother, I think. So for me, oh my god. And my boss was very good at it, and
Right.
I was not good. So that was not the best fit for me,
Mm,
right? So that's when I decided to move. So the second main reason people leave an organization is whether it's the right fit or wrong fit for me. Four
mm,
things for you to think about when you decide whether it's a fit or not, right? Number one is look at your personality. So what type are you? Extroverted, introverted? Are you a people type of person? Are you a technical type of person? Are you a
mm,
person that likes constant changes? Are you a person who enjoys routine, some level of certainty? So there are quite a few things to think about. Are you a
right.
person who likes to work as an individual contributor? Do you like to be in projects where it's constantly moving, dynamic? So you need to decide. You also need to decide, are you a big organization person or a small organization person?
Mm,
You know what I mean?
okay.
Because I realized I worked in a large organization with 14,000 people. I worked in a small organization with probably 10, 20 people. And I realized I'm more comfortable being in the small organization because I have direct access to the people who make decisions. So that's me, and I like things fast. And larger
Mm,
organizations might have their challenges, but for different people, different things suit them. So
mhm.
that's number two. Now, let's say you are in the right place, and your boss and you are fine. Now, people still leave. So, why they leave? Number three is growth.
Right.
I've been here for a few years, nothing really new is happening, nothing exciting me as much as before. I've learned what I think is already, pretty good. Now, I want to learn something different. And the place I'm at, it's either taking too long for me to
Mm,
get that particular experience, or they don't offer that, or it's not part of their direction. So now
right.
I need to change, right?
Mm,
So that's number three. And the
mhm.
final one, well, like what you said, the grass is greener on the other side. But what a lot of people will tell you when I meet my participants, I ask them, what is the number one reason people leave? Some of them will say money.
Mm,
Money, whatever generation you talk to, even the young generation today, they want meaningful work.
Right.
The work is not meaningful, I don't feel it's important work, it's not interesting to me, and you're paying me like this, and I'm going through all the stress, then it's not worth it. So you might hear money, but money not really number one. To get the job, yes, they might be asking for amazing salary packages or whatever, but to keep them there is not really money. Yeah, it's the other three things.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so I'm seeing quite a number of viewers already. So I'd like to just remind our viewers out there that the show is currently live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you have any questions at all for Suresh, please leave them in the comment section and I will be sure to share them on screen for Suresh to answer them. Okay, so those are the those are the four things that you need to know whether the job is the right fit or not, right?
Right.
So what are the questions one should ask themselves if we want to change career now?
Okay, good. So, like I mentioned just now earlier, personality was one.
Yes.
Number two is what are my strengths? Right? What are my strengths? So, because you will have strengths, and your strengths might not be like clearly a technical particular skill. Skill and strengths are different. Yeah? So, simple example: somebody might be good at negotiating. They're very good at negotiating, bargaining. That's a strength. Certain people may be very good at presenting. That's a strength, but that can also be a skill.
Right.
Strength can be a skill, but a skill doesn't necessarily mean a strength. I have many skills. Some I really enjoy. Some I'm very good at, but I have these skills. So are you an average? Are you at average level, at lower level, high level? So I normally say it's a PISS or PSIS, depends on how you want to talk, how you want to frame it. Personality, important. Does this really suit me, my personality? I'm an outgoing person. I'm an outdoor person. This job keeps me in the office. I want something that helps me go out, travel. I like that. My strength, I love talking to people. I'm very good at service. I know how to follow up. I've gotten recognition before, praises before when I deal with people and solve problems. So that's the second one, strength. And then you have interest. I'm very interested in solving problems for people. I like this interaction type of thing. So I'm interested in that area. Plus, in my previous place or currently, I have certain skills that support me in this area. So you've got these four things that will already give you a feel. Am I in the right place or not in the right place? So now there are a few questions you can ask. There are actually 8 questions in our class that we do.
Okay.
Right? So I'll just review. I actually have this set of questions here with me. Wondering whether you will ask me the question or not. So very good you asked me the question. So one of the questions is very simple. What do you enjoy doing most during your work hours? So ask yourself, what is it in the 8 hours? And please don't say lunch. If the answer is lunch, you are in the wrong place. Okay. All right. Now, so what do you enjoy most? What motivates you? Those kind of things. What else? What are your best skills? In your workplace, what area or industry would you like to work in? Now, this can be a tricky question because if you're new and you're young in the workplace, in the job market, then I don't know, Suresh. I've only been in this industry. Okay, talk to your friends, hear from them what's going on in their industry. And does it sound exciting for you or not? That's what you do. So those are kind of questions. What else you have? You have when you're not working. When you're not working, what do you spend your time doing? Now, that's an important question in the job seeking process. Why? Imagine this, right, Tammy? Imagine, you would do something for free. You would do something without anybody asking you. And guess how would you feel if I paid you to do that for 8 hours, 9 hours a day? That would be great, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's right. So Confucius, if some people heard of Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, he said, once you do the job you enjoy, once you do the job you enjoy, you stop working. Because there's no more work, it's fun.
Yep.
Right? So these are the kind of questions you want to ask. How would you describe yourself? What do you enjoy doing most, during your work day? What would you do after your work hours? What are your best skills? So these are the questions. What else? What is the environment you would most be productive in? And what would be the area or industry that you would like to, work in, for example? So those are the kind of questions. Now, with our last 2 years experience with COVID, this alone might not be enough. There might need to be another question, which is, what does that industry look like moving forward? Because if you're looking at the airline industry now, we know it can be hard hit. We're talking about the hospitality industry right now. We know in the future, anything similar like what we felt or experienced in COVID, they're going to be hit very hard.
Right.
So we need to consider that as well. Right?
Mm.
Because any job, any organization will give you the opportunities that you want if it's in that same industry. But is that industry a high risk industry or not? So those are things. Sorry for all those people who are in the airlines or who are pilots and all that stuff. So if you're a pilot, that's your skill set. Don't worry about skill set. More important than skill set, personality, strength, interest. What do you enjoy? And let me also share this with you, Tammy. If you're in a job that you don't enjoy, and I throw challenges at you, I give you issues, you will not be as motivated or as creative to solve it because you don't enjoy the job to begin with. Correct?
True.
But if you enjoy it, you like it, you're passionate about it, you can even have a very difficult boss. But you will work your way around it because you enjoy what you do, it's meaningful for you, it's important for you. If the problem that others couldn't solve, you would say, give it to me. You would ask for it. So that's very different.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you spend almost 40 years of your life in a career. You spend more time with other people's husbands and wives and brothers and sisters than your own. For the most productive time in your life. If you're doing something you don't enjoy, you must be nuts. Isn't it?
Yep.
So those are the questions that people need to think about.
Right.
All right.
So when you ask those questions to yourself, right, then you will realize that you have gap to fill, in
Yes.
terms of hard skills, in terms of soft skills. So how do we go about, equipping ourselves in all those things?
So, if there are certain technical skills that you feel, you really are falling short of, then either you can go online, when now there's a lot of opportunity online. But
Yes.
so that's one thing you can do. The other thing is learning from the people within your current work setup. Now you have, people have always been doing this OJT, right? On the job training. But if you really realize that this is my gap, this is the problem I have, and I want to fill that gap, then by all means, either you go online or you go and do, go and buddy with somebody, go and observe. But that's a very interesting question because you have to do it, not wait for your boss to come and do it. And it's as simple as that. Just go. First of all, reflect and see what are the things that are missing. If it's soft skills, you got books, you got audios, you got things like what we're doing right now, right? So it's just all there, the gaps, not difficult to fill. Not knowledge alone, but experience as well. So my suggestion to those people who realize, I think this is the area I need to develop further. Let's say it's a leadership skill.
Right.
I've never led people. I've always been an individual contributor. And this next role I'm eyeing for requires me to lead people. So that's a soft skill. So what do I do now in preparation? Let's say the next 1-2 years, maybe get involved a bit more in projects as an assistant, learn from the current project managers, for example. So get involved in many teams. Become a bit more visible, ask your bosses for opportunities that, that could help you close that gap. So those things.
Cool. Because now we have so many resources online and we have to be willing to look at those things as investments for the future.
Yes. Can I share one phrase? I actually wanted to share this at the end of the session, but since you said that very interesting statement, there's a phrase from Jim Rohn, Jimrohn, right? He's passed away, but amazing speaker. So he said this. He said, "If I work hard on my job, I will make a living. Right? If I work hard on my job, I will make a living. If I work hard on myself, I will make a fortune." Okay. So that's what he said. And I have my own phrase. My own phrase is this. My phrase is, your job belongs to your company. Your career belongs to you.
Right.
So it's not about other people telling you, no, you should do this, do that. What do you want for your own career? Because it's your progress through your life. Cool?
Okay. So, once we have done all this inner work, figuring out the gaps, reskilling, upskilling ourselves and things like that. And then one problem these people might have is the fact that they may have been working at a specific job at a specific company for a very long period of time. Okay. So they might have lost, not say lost touch, or it's been a while. It's pretty rusty in terms of, their interviewing skills, those kind of things. And, and how resumes are supposed to be submitted are also changing. We even have video resumes these days, right? So how can they go about it in terms of brushing up their skills on that front?
You mean to how would they need to present their experience?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so yes, we have this audio, video type of interview styles. I put it in, so that's fine. I mean, if that works for you, it's good. Yeah.
Mm.
But interestingly enough, in the last 1 week or so, I've been talking to many recruiters,
Okay.
and for them, most important is when you are. I mean, you've been in a particular area, now you're pivoting, going somewhere else. For them, most important is how would your skills, strength, experience, especially, add value to the role you're seeking for right now in this company. So that's most important. So even for people who have not been working, they took a 2-year break or whatever it is. For the recruiters, let me tell you, and for the senior management, for them is be honest. During the interview, they're going to ask you anyway. See, there's a gap in the last 2 years. You've been not working, or you've been in this particular area for the last 12 years, 8 years. Now you're looking for a role very different. Maybe you could share. So share. You can even share, for example, things like I realized, I was not as satisfied as I was there. However, I feel that the experience I've gained doing these things. So the experience you share those experiences that are relevant to the role you're looking for first. The other experiences are also valuable, but they come later. All those things relevant to the role you are applying for, put that out there. And people want to know, because there are a lot of, you're hungry for a job. You will say whatever you need to say. But interestingly enough, we are now in an employee market, not so much of an employer market. Right? People are finding it tough to find people to work and good talent. But they also want authentic people. The word is authentic. So if I see that you are honest, I see that you are straightforward, transparent, I want people like this to work with me. And your skills and your experience seem to be able to help my organization move in their direction. So put all those things out first. Let me give you an example, right? I mean, my degree is in nutrition. Okay. So I'm a nutritionist by training. And my first job was in sales. I did not even apply for the job. My boss told me, try selling. I actually walked off during the interview. I walked off. He says, no, wait, come. So we had a discussion, and I had a mixture of things to do in line with nutrition and also outside, which was sales. Okay. Now, when I chose to move, I did not sell my earlier experience. Just my earlier experience alone. I also shared all the other strengths I had that could add value to the second organization which I joined.
Okay.
And that's why they hired me. My experience earlier, they said, okay, it's different, but we can use that. But we also like the other strengths that you talked about. And I shared as many experiences that I had. University days as well, projects I had. Anything that makes relevance or relevant sense to the role you apply. That's what you do. There's no rocket science there. There's no special way. It's heart to heart, you and me. I read it, okay, makes sense to me. This position, this experience, okay, let's call you for an interview. That's what your resume is for.
Right.
Giving you the appointment to go and meet for the interview. Then it's all you after that.
Okay. Cool. Right. And also, sometimes when you're moving to a new career path, right, they may give this argument that, yes, you are very qualified, you have all these skills from your prior career path, but unfortunately you do not have the current experience in this specific field. So are you open to start from ground zero, for example?
Right.
So do you think it's something that people have to be ready for, start from ground zero?
Correct. So you're very right. And this, not everybody may agree, but the truth of the matter is, I meet about, every year I train 5,000 people, let me tell you. And in the 20 years, many people. Not everybody is willing to go back to ground zero, especially if you've been working for a long time and you're in a senior position. But ground zero doesn't mean position level zero. It means you maybe need to start learning and things that you've never done before and never learned before. So that's something very, very possible. It may happen. So which also means, Tammy, when you put your wonderful price tag, which is your salary you're looking for, you also have to be a bit more realistic. I'm not going to pay you because you got a big mortgage. That's not my problem. It's yours. So I'm going to pay for the value that I'm expecting from you, and you're going to benefit from you receiving that, and you're going to give me your energy. I'm going to then use your energy to serve my customers.
Right.
So if you need to learn, Somebody needs to teach you. There is time that learning curve will happen. So if you're going to just change career paths just for the money, then that's the wrong decision.
Mm.
That's the
Okay.
wrong decision, because it's supposed to be for satisfaction, for enjoyment. It should be something that's passionate for you. If you're
Mm.
changing jobs because of money, my friend, if you're changing careers because of money, that's the wrong one. Job, yeah, no, it's possible, but career move because of money, wrong decision. As far as I'm concerned,
Mm.
not the right decision. That should only come later. Anything you do well, Tammy, you will make money.
Mm.
People can see you from miles away. They can smell your success. You are good at it. They will pay you because you do a good job. Right? Money will come. Money will come. So get ready to start. You have to learn something new. Get ready for that. But because you're interested, you're passionate, and those are your strengths, you will learn very quickly.
Mm.
One of the questions we ask our participants is, how do you know if something is your strength or not? Very simple. Do you learn that particular task or activity quickly or not? Has somebody praised you about it? Does it come naturally to you or not? Do you automatically stand out when you do it or not? So those are all indications, And now you have to learn those things that you're already good at, no problem. Or you're already interested in, no problem. So bring down that price tag, right? And be willing enough, to learn.
Yeah. I love how you gave me pointers on how to figure out your strength, because I'm very bad at SWOT analysis. So thank you so
Oh,
much for that.
okay.
Okay, so I have a question from Raj. So, what considerations must we give before transitioning from a government sector to a private sector job? Can a government employee survive the current private market?
Oh, it can be vice versa. Some people jump from private to government, some from government to private. So the question here is, if I look at the question, can the government employee survive current private market? Of course, can. The idea here is, when you're moving to the private, you're moving hopefully to a job that you are going to enjoy, you're going to be interested in. It's part of your skills and strengths, right?
Mm.
So different organizations, even though private, have different pace of doing business. Let me tell you, doesn't mean private means they're super fast. No. Also depends on the size of the company, depends on the industry, depends on the people you're working with. If you are willing to learn, and if you're willing to ask questions, right? If you're willing to challenge, speak up, you will do fine. Now, in some government, because I also train some government agencies, there are some agencies I've met where the people also behave like private employees, which is amazing for me. I don't see that across all government agencies, but I see them in a few. And the people who they've recruited, for me, are people who have been working in MNCs before. And these are top-notch Fortune 500 companies, but they are now hired in certain government agencies to be able to help the country grow. And then they asked me to come in there and train them. So I've seen that group of people, and they move very fast.
Right.
But then the rest of the agency cannot cope with them. So then they get frustrated. But if you are coming from a slow pace, slow moving, it's okay, chill, have a good time, and you go into the private scenario, be ready, because that's not going to be the scenario. Okay, so a company will want to move fast. Again, every company is different, but private generally you would think would move a little bit faster. But I will not say that's all for all private sector. I have some private organizations that I'm dealing with right now, and I'm actually consulting, who have that same mentality of slow and easy. As long as salary comes in, I'm fine. You also have this group. Yeah. So you can survive. It's about whether I want to grow, learn. And let me tell you this: you might be the superstar in the private organization. Because of your eagerness to learn and your speaking up, your visibility, and all that stuff. So no issues. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I have a follow-up question to that, because you're talking about private and how competitive it is, right? So, assuming that we have somebody here who is going to be completely new in the field, and how are they going to be able to compete with another job seeker who already have experience in the field? So, how can we stand out?
Okay. Then I must give you one phrase, one
Sure.
quote from Dale Carnegie. His phrase is very simple.
Isn't he the one who gave the seven effective people or something like that, right?
That one was Stephen Covey.
Right.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie wrote a book on how to win friends and influence people.
Yes.
All right. So you want to compete with people who are already in that industry. They have that skills, knowledge, experience, right? So my suggestion is this: you need to be interested to be interesting. Okay, let me repeat. Yeah? You need to be interested to be interesting. Now, what does this mean? This is what I also do right now, even in my own business, because I go and every client is sometimes a new experience for me. I might have never trained that industry before, but now I'm going into that industry. So same concept applies. So what I will normally do is, before I go for that particular role, I will find out all that I can about that role. I will find out about that organization. I will do a bit of deep dive, study it left and right center. I will, if I have friends in that particular industry, I will ask all the questions in the world. I go for the interview. They are going to see somebody who probably might even know more about what's going on in that industry compared to all the other stuff, because you're so busy working, you're not busy studying. They see somebody very eager. So that's how you become, or that's how you stand out, because you came and did your homework. That makes you different. And after that, of course, your honesty and the way you present yourself is very important. So that's putting that aside. If you're going to compete on the basis of skills, you don't have that skill they have. You are at a disadvantage. True. But you have strengths.
Right.
So strengths, we can cross each other out. So how will your strength benefit the current organization? So you sell your strength. Right? Sell your strength, sell your personality, sell your experience previously that can help this particular scenario. And let me tell you this, a lot of companies, you will hear them saying, I'm very fortunate, you know. I'm able to go to so many companies and train. And when I go and do work with them, I go deep. So when I talk to the bosses, I talk to the staff at every level, I hear this one statement coming out. You know, they say, Suresh, we need new blood. Somebody who can think differently, somebody who has very different ideas. So if you are very different, you bring that, which your other competitors cannot. So you talk about disruption in the market, you are the disruptor. You come there and you ask so many questions, people start to actually question, why are we doing this way now? So use that now as your advantage, right?
Okay.
And do that homework so people know you are interested in them, they will be interested in you. Is that okay? That helps?
Yep, that would definitely help. So I have another question here. This one, I think, is a very important question as well, because when we talk about career pivot, sometimes it's not just about moving to another organization or another field. It's about, becoming a freelancer, going into the gig economy, starting your own business, right? So his question here is, I've moved from 15 years of salaried work to self-employment last year. So what sorts of mindset shifts do you encourage me to develop to ensure this career move remains sustainable for me?
Okay, so first of all, congratulations. You have decided to go on your own. For me, my mindset has always been everyone, even employed, are actually self-employed. That's the mindset I tell everyone, because you're selling your time, energy, effort, expertise to your organization. So Jane, right? Jane Lee, wonderful. So you've been doing that, Jane, for your previous employer for 15 years. So you only had one customer. Now you're going to have many customers, Jane, just like me. Yay. So the same boat. So mindset shift, the fact that you already shifted is great. But let's say, you're thinking, how do I sustain? How do I keep myself afloat? Okay. Mindset, very important, is think about your customer. That's it. Everything you do needs to be around your customer. Okay. Your customer is happy, they tell the whole world about you, don't worry about it. So the mindset that has to happen is, first of all, business is good. Business is great. You don't have to give under table. If other people are thinking that's necessary, I have not done it. Right? And I know people who do it. I don't do it. I don't like it. So be true to yourself. If you enjoy what you're doing right now, great. Focus on your customer and your customer will take care of you. That's the shift. In terms of cash flow, that's also another thing that you have to think about. When I just started business and I started making quite good money in the first year itself, I was very fortunate. People started telling me, Suresh, go buy that car, go do this, go do that. No. First 5 years, Jade, what you need to do is focus on building your customer base. That should be it. Focus on giving good quality products. All right. If you follow trends, trends change. If your business is a trendy business, then you might not sustain. Your business must fulfill a need that the customer will want. And if the customer is happy with your quality, the customer will call you back again and again. So again, cash flow here, don't go and simply spend. Focus your investment on building your product and helping your customer. Don't go and be too lavish, get too excited too fast. Don't expand too fast also. Make money first. All right, the expansion here and all that all doesn't work. You have to get the profit, then you expand if you even need to. But come up with a formula. So you just started this first year, exciting at the same time scary. I can tell you. Right. So for me, I had the same issue, but I told myself this was the statement I had with myself. Worst case scenario, Suresh, what happens if you don't make it? I say, well, then I have to swallow the ego with a black face and go and ask for a job again, maybe even from my previous employers. But that's okay. And Jane looks pretty, I don't know, from the picture there, she looks pretty young and all that stuff. So better do these things young, Jane, because you can take more risks when you're young. Right? When you're older, a few more things for you to think about. So I was very lucky. I started my business at 30 after working for people for 7 years. And I told myself this, if I fail, it's not because of the market, it's not because of the industry, it's because I did not put enough energy, effort, and time building my business. As long as I go out and meet people, I help them get what they want, and it's not so much about the money. The money will come, remember. I must become a provider that serves a purpose, and everything else will take care of itself. That is the mindset. So don't worry about money. Manage the money. Don't spend too much, but focus on your customer. Everything you do, Jade, focus on your customer, and you will be fine. That's the mindset. The employee mindset, a lot of times, is not so much of customers. Some of them are thinking of customers, which are great, depending on the role you play. But it's again a job. It's a job. It's a job. People say it's a job. And now I have to do this 9 to 5 to pay my salary, to pay my commitments and all that stuff. That's the wrong mindset. Your job should give you meaning, passion, make you happy. At least I'm making a difference where I'm working right now. Somebody is benefiting from my effort. That should be the mindset. So in your case, Jane, it's your customer. Direct right now, right? That's the mindset I can share. Hopefully it's useful for you, Jane. Let Tammy know so I know.
Okay. She will.
Okay, great.
Okay, there's a comment from Racine that says, well said, Suresh.
My dear Racine. Hi, Racine. Checking me out, I know. Very good.
Okay, so I think I want to continue with the question earlier about how, when you want to stand out as a job seeker, right? You want to seek out the company, you seek out the organization that you want to work with. But I think apart from that, when we are networking and you are currently in your career path or in your job, your network would serve some sort of like a silo, because the people around you will all be from the same field, from the same jobs, because that's how you network and that's how you know people. So how do we go outside of our network? How do we meet people outside of our field? How do we network effectively?
So now again, the context is I'm thinking of pivoting. I'm thinking of going to another field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is, easiest thing is, who are the most accessible people to you? If it's family, go and ask family members in that field. If it's friends in that field, right? Yeah. And now you've got Facebook, man. You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you can go reach out to as many people as possible and find out about that field. So networking for me is just identifying who are the people, or what is the industry, or what are the areas I want to go and find out about, and go and connect to as many people. And sometimes you might have, I have no idea, Suresh, who do I talk to? Talk to other people who you know and ask them to direct you to people who they know. So if you reach out, somebody will grab your hand. It's very simple. So that's, if you're talking about networking, yes, network. But the reason you're networking in the first place is because, what's the reason? You want to find out, right? A little bit more. Right? That's all. So you're a bit more abreast with what's going on. So that's what you do. But there's nothing should be stopping us from reaching out. And if you're in business, like in Jane's case as well, I've never done business before. Very good. Start reaching out to other people who are doing business and become a student. So if you want to network, become a student. Mindset, student. I need to ask this person for information, that person for information, talk to your bosses in the office and talk to people, different departments in your office. There are people who come from different backgrounds. So go mix around. I also want to acknowledge one interesting thing you said, Tammy. People can be in the office, but they're only in their silos. I have a client who actually said this literally to his people. He says, he asked them in the session where I had this director talking to his team, and he asked two people sitting down in the office who are next to each other, but they're doing different jobs. Two different departments, but now open concept. So he asked person A, do you know what person B is doing? He said, person B, I know they're not in my department, but not really. They're next to each other, no? Maximum 1 meter away now, of
Mm.
course. But they were next to each other and they had no clue what the other person is doing. See, that's how silo we have gone.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about your career, start going and mixing around with the people in your organization. They have team building, please go. They've got annual dinner, go. All right. Then don't go and just sit on the same table with all your gang. Go and move around. Right. Go wedding, right? Go. Don't know anybody, go introduce yourself. Get to know people. So if you're a shy person, for that half an hour, become somebody who is not shy. After that, go and become your shy self again. No issues.
Mm.
But that's what you do. That's networking. Not
Yep.
reaching out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like how you said earlier when you want to start a business, you should go to business owners. And I would like to maybe give a shout out to Jane because she's my friend. So I'm aware of what she has done before she started her business. And she has met so many business owners who are very happy to share their experiences and, what she needs to look out for and everything. I guess what I learned from that is if you're willing to ask, there are always going to be people willing to help.
Exactly. And people like in my case, I've been doing my own business for the last 16 years. 2006. Yeah, 16 years. I want more and more people to be able to experience what I experience right now because I'm living the kind of life that I really enjoy.
Right.
So, and when I was an employee, I remember my ex-boss came to my house for housewarming and he told my wife, he said this. He said, the reason your husband is who he is today or because of whatever he's achieved is because when he was working with me, I was his employee. He said he treated the business like it was his own business. So that was always my mindset. I did not know maybe I would start my own business or not, but when I was in that organization, I treated that business as my own because I enjoyed it. It fit my personality, it fit my strength, it fit my skills. I enjoyed it. You see? So yeah, reach out, ask people. There will always be people who will help you.
Right. Okay. I have another question here. Speaking of worst case scenarios, how much money should I prepare beforehand before transitioning jobs?
Okay, before transitioning jobs. Okay, how much money? Okay, if it's transitioning jobs, if the job is a job which is what shall I say, difficult to get, that means you already resigned, right? If you're already going to resign and you're not going to secure a job before that, then it's a different story. But if you're going to get a job, then only you leave, then there's no worries. No? If you're going to go into business before and you're employed, now you're going to go into business, that's a different story. So maybe I will sort of try to unpack that question and also share. So if I've resigned and I have a 2 months, 3 months notice, right? Hopefully before you resigned, you had at least 6 months of money, to run your operations, right? Because you have 3 months notice, you can work very hard at getting it, but then the next 3 months, we're not sure. But it's an employee market now. So
Yeah.
I think within 6 months, no issues. If you already got the job and now you're going to resign, enjoy life. Okay, you can have maybe 1 or 2 months, but I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. But if you're going from job to business, some people tell you 6 months. I don't think so. So for me, I would say at least 10 months. A good amount will be for 1 year. Save up 1 year's amount of operations cost or cash flow you would need for 1 year, and then happily go into the business scenario. Right? That's what I also did. I actually had 1 year. Some people told me 6 months, 8 months should be okay. So I put for myself 10 months, and because I had to invest money also, right, in my business, get my stuff, market myself, traveling and all that stuff, and also still run the house.
Right.
So I had 10 months. I had at least 10 months or a year. I think a year. So that's what you do if it's business. Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Going back to the networking part, so that's one thing to connect with people and figure out what's happening in the other industry that you're interested in. Another thing is trying to brand yourself differently now. For example, if for the longest time there have been this one field, the first thing that comes to their mind or anybody's mind when they see that person is, okay, this person does this job. So how do we start branding ourselves differently so that people now can be, the moment people start thinking about, hey, I need somebody for this particular position, they think of you.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a formula for this. Okay. So everybody will write down DAD. Is that okay?
Okay.
Dad. So you need to become a dad. So what's a dad? Not going to become a father. Okay. So
Okay.
D, the first D stands for create demand for what you do. So in this case, let's say I'm in a particular position. Let's say I'm in accounts. I'm in accounts, or I'm in finance, or I'm in IT, and I want to be the preferred choice. I want people to think of me, call me. I want to be that valuable person. So I need to create demand for me. So Tammy needs to create demand for Tammy. How does that happen? Tammy and Suresh both have two skills. If Tammy is not around, Suresh will do it. Suresh not around, Tammy will do it. So is Tammy really that valuable? No, Suresh is always there. If Tammy leaves tomorrow, no problem. But if Tammy could do 4 things and Suresh can only do 2, now Tammy is more in demand. So how do you practice this? First D, have more skills. Increase your skill sets. Right? So a lot of people in the working world say this is not my scope. Yeah, so make it part of your scope. Yeah, but that's not my KPI. It's perfectly fine, my friend. You want to become known, you want to be visible, do more, right? And there's a book by Thomas J. Stanley. This is a book. There are 2 books he wrote. One is The Millionaire Next Door, and one more is The Millionaire Mind. And he interviewed 733 millionaires, and in that 733, there was a good portion of employees who were millionaires. And I'm not talking about CEO level. I'm talking about people who work for 40 years, 35 years, saved up money, put some in FD and unit trust and all that stuff. And when you talk to these people, one of their top 10, there's a top 30 list, but the top 10, one of the top 10, I think number 5, if not mistaken, is doing more than others. So that simple thing. My ex-boss told me this. He said, Suresh, what you do after office hours will make you successful. Because everybody else does what they're supposed to do during office hours. So that additional skill set that you go and learn, that out of scope work you go and do, you help somebody else in the particular project and it's not your job, all those things become your experience. And that's something that nobody can take away from you. So that's the first D. Now the A is ability. So what does this mean? Now we both got 4. Now both of us have 4 skills, right? But when I do a particular report, less mistakes. When I handle a project, less delays. When I settle a network breakdown, the system comes up half the time compared to you, for example. Now my ability makes me different. So the first is a wider range of skills. The second one is go deep in the top skills. Right? So now you become known. 3 brain surgeons. 1 you go in, you come out fine. Another one you go in 50-50. Another one you go in, you don't come out. Who would you pay more to? The first one. Now the third D is very interesting. The third one. The third D is what we call differentiation. Differentiation here means doing things that other people don't want to do or don't know how to. Is that okay? So simple example was in my previous organization, being a trainer, presenter, I had already that strength and that skills. My GM, I was in a management position. My general manager was not very fantastic at doing presentations. So that was something he did not want to do. He could do it, but he did not want to do. So I did it very well. So everywhere he went, he took me along.
Right.
So I became more visible to his bosses as well. I had that skill. So if you are in customer service and you don't like dealing with customers, nobody likes dealing with difficult customers, right? But if you don't like dealing with customers itself, you're in the wrong place. But if you decide, I think I'm okay with people, but difficult customers, Suresh, headaches. But imagine you could master handling difficult people. The first person your boss will call is you. And if you want to leave, anybody else can leave except Tammy. Tammy will settle all my headache. Tammy is important. So do things that others don't want to do or don't know how to do. Then you become the go-to person for it. So 3 things, DAD. So those listening, look at what you do right now and see what are already your strengths. Great, you can sharpen that even more. What you are scoring in the average scale or whatever it is. See, okay, how can I upskill myself here? And also check on your bosses. What are the things that my bosses need to do, but maybe they're not doing it as best as they can that I would like to try out? And then you go and do that. Make sense? So that's what you do. So that's how you become visible, my dear. And one of the easiest thing to do, let me tell all this to all the viewers and who's going to listen. And this is on behalf of all the trainers and speakers in the world. When you go online, on the camera. Then you become visible automatically. And when you are in meetings, you become visible automatically. When my clients who are multinationals speak to their counterparts in other countries, let me tell you, the Europeans, the camera is on, the Americans, the camera is on, but sometimes the Malaysians, camera not on. That already puts you at a disadvantage.
Mm.
Be visible, right? Don't be shy. Right? So that's the 3 things for people to remember. DAG.
Right.
Cool?
Okay. Yep.
Oh.
Perfect. Okay, we are nearing the end of the show, so I think I would like to finally ask you. I mean, since you've given us so much words of wisdom and a lot of valuable insights about the conversation today. So, finally, any word of advice for people currently watching or currently mulling over the idea to move into a different field?
To move into a different field. Advice, what do you, if there was one question you could ask, there was one question you could ask yourself, and the answer would tell you very clearly, this is what I should be doing for the rest of my life. Now, that would be what you need to do right now. So if you're going to pivot and you can answer this question and you're thinking about that role, then you're on the right track. So this is the question. Ask yourself this question. What would I do for free? Okay. Ask yourself, what would I do for free? If I would do this for free, and I could find an employer, I could find a business that has this need, and people would pay me for this, and I would actually do it for free, then that is what you should be doing for the rest of your life. Okay, it's very simple. So that's one question you would ask. Now, apart from that, what other advice I would give you is moving into a different area, study the area. All right, study the situation, study the needs of that particular new career, new career, and slowly prepare yourself for that. That's the, I think that's the best advice I can give you. And for me, don't be afraid about your experience or your skill. I don't have the skills, Suresh. I don't have the experience. For me, that's secondary. Yeah, your personality, your strength, and your interests. These 3 things matter more than anything else. Southwest Airlines, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Google, one of the philosophies they all share is this. They say we don't just hire skills, we hire attitude. If you're going to move, and it's going to be a lateral move. There are 3 types, okay? Jamie, in career, when we talk about career, there are 3 options for you. Either it's job enrichment, which means I'm already at the right place, and I just want to see how else can I grow. That's called job enrichment. Now, sometimes you feel that I'm already at this level. I want more decision-making power. I want to be able to take more risks. I want to be able to lead people, bigger team, whatever it is. That's called vertical move. And then you've got the 3rd one, which is lateral move. So that's what we're talking about today, lateral move, right? So if I'm going to make a lateral move, don't just suddenly jump. Before you jump, check out. Deep, not deep, shallow, and all that stuff. If I need help, where can I get the help? So do that, then you jump. So that's the idea. So lateral move, study, and then you jump. Yep, so that's the idea. Now, in case you fail, well, it's okay. No problem. Then go back to wherever you are comfortable and then jump again. But don't stop jumping. I mean, when I say jumping, I'm not talking about keep on jumping every 2 years. But if you really know what you want to do, then follow it. So don't worry about skills. Skills you can learn. So they say we hire attitude, not just skills. Yeah? Skills I can teach you, you can learn. But attitude, not easy to find. The same thing Warren Buffett says. He says this. If I hire people, I don't simply hire people with high IQ. My high IQ is different, he says. So he says this. There are 3 I's he will look for. He says intelligence is important, yes, because I need to hire people who can think. Innovation also important, right? So people who can change things, can challenge things and make things better. And the 3rd I, very important. He said, this is the most important I compared to the other 2. And he said integrity. If I have a person who has intelligence and innovative, but does not have integrity, that person can become my biggest downfall. Right? But if I have somebody with integrity, the other 2 can learn, no? Right? And that person will grow, and I can trust that person will make it in life. So that's my advice. Yeah, and your career belongs to you, remember. Nobody can take the experience you have away from you. You can change jobs. Some people will say this, Nobody is indispensable, Suresh. I agree. I mean, you can always change somebody else and put them in that seat, but you lose the experience,
Yep.
that skill, that network. You cannot get that same Tammy experience impact in that role, especially if Tammy has DAD.
Mm.
And that's a cost to every organization, retraining and all that. And you don't know how long this person will stay.
Mm.
Right? But that Tammy, if I can keep her here, grow her, and she's happy, why not? Right?
Yeah.
So before you pivot, I always tell my participants this also. Where you are right now is probably the best place for you already. Unless it's totally what you don't want to do, then that's a different scenario. Yeah. So
Mm.
try your best to see whether you can find the right fit for you within that same organization first. If you really cannot find and you've done your best, you're honest yourself, you've spoken to all those people in charge, and you really have no options, then you pivot. So when you pivot, I've already done my best, I've been honest, and now I'll prepare myself because I don't see future in the next 2-3 years and I cannot wait longer. So then you pivot, but you don't pivot like what my mother used to say, don't jump from the frying pan to the fire.
Mm.
Don't just jump to change job for the sake of escaping.
True.
Look carefully, then you leap. But leap must be fitting for you. It helps you and gives you all the things you want. Just one more thing before we go, yeah, Tammy.
Mhm.
I think everybody who's going to pivot also needs to know what is the criteria of that new path. So criteria means if you're buying a car, you're moving
Mhm.
from a particular car to another car. You need to decide, do I want to still keep a sedan or do I want to now have a sports car? Do I want to have an SUV? So what do I want? So the specs of that particular job. What should the package be like? What should the commute be like? What should the role be like? Should it be an individual contributor role? Should it be a leadership role? Should it be in a fast-paced environment? Should it be in a slow environment? Should it be in what should I say? Should it be in a scenario where I get to travel because I like to travel, or if I have to travel, then I don't like traveling. Then I make sure it's something that doesn't require me to travel. Does it have the flexi hours I want? Does it have a shift? I don't like shifts. If it has shifts, I don't want. So be clear with all these things. Be clear with all these things, and then you go looking for that environment. If not, it's going to be jumping and jumping and jumping, very frustrating, and then you end up being very unhappy.
Yeah.
All right.
And draining. Yes.
Yeah, and draining, and then people actually would probably not want to hire somebody like this, even though that's becoming the common trend. Yeah, people are moving 2-3 years, and employers are beginning to accept it as the norm, and they try to generalize it as a millennial issue or as a Gen Y issue. But also my generation people, I know of people who have been doing that for some time, and after they get tired of doing it, then they just sit down there quietly. But they're not passionate, and they're stressed up, and they're disengaged, and they become difficult bosses to other people. So not worth it. Your career belongs to you. It's like a spouse. A wrong spouse, life is terrible. Good spouse, right spouse, life is beautiful.
Well said. I think
Right?
employee retention is another huge topic we need to really unpack. I guess that's a whole other episode for that.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much, Suresh, for tonight. I learned so much. I hope those who are watching learned as well. So, for those of you who are planning to catch up on the current episode and all the previous episodes, all the episodes are on YouTube, on BKNI Resources channel, and also on Spotify. So, thank you so much for listening and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Suresh.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Tammy, and best of luck to all the viewers. And have a great weekend. All right. Bye bye.